Yes. Can I pick it up? And can it occur in different contexts? You have a hunger for information. That's why you're here. Hopefully by the time you leave, it will have been sated. Okay, so we are letting you get away with hunger. Okay. Anybody question anything else with them? All right. Do I dare go to this group? I like to give my husband a hard time. No, I just like to give my husband a hard time. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, abstract is good. That's what you want. Go ahead with the list. What do you have?
So apart from the three, peace, sadness, loneliness, we have love, fatigue, grace, fear. What about content? Content.
Contentment. Okay. So you okay with that? Fatigue. Everybody okay with that? That's a concept. Creativity is beautiful. Yeah. Grace. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think you guys can all, two guys and madam can breathe a sigh of relief. You passed the test. All right. Right. All right. Next group.
Valor, honesty, morality. I think everything else was repeated from somewhere else.
Okay. All right. What is it?
Those three were lofty.
Yes. Very lofty. So everybody's okay with this. All right. What do you got back here?
I don't know. I've gotten lost with what people have put out. Oh, heartless, love, forgiveness, hate, happiness, loss,
Loss. Yeah.
frugality,
Yeah.
anxiety,
Yeah.
and then I think the rest is what I've added
From other groups. Yeah. 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 No problems with any of those. Okay. Anger. Yep. Yes.
I think one that Reese mentioned when I was up there with that group said faith.
Faith is a really good one. Yeah. Faith is a really good one. No question there. All right. So these are concepts. All right. So you can turn your page back because for some reason I believe that particular slide got put in a different place. All right. There we go. Okay. Now, I want to show you how understanding concepts saved me when I was asked to write a curriculum on the Three Angels' Messages for Children. I don't know if you all got the card, and I'll eventually run out of these, so it's a good thing you're here today. Did everyone get one of these? I'm going to give these out to people that did not get them. Sorry. All right. What if you had the job that he'll get you one here. Yeah. If you had the job that you had to write a curriculum on the Three Angels' Messages for kindergartners. And now we've even put it down to pre-K students. Okay. So let's take a look. And this is what the Lord gave me. And I was just so happy. And people have loved this. And now a lot of adults want this. So that they can better understand it. So the first angel, he said in a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory because the hour of his judgment has come. Worship him who made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and the springs of water." When I was asked to write this curriculum, the sponsors told me that they had been trying for years to get someone to write this curriculum. They said there were some people who were really good writers, but they didn't understand children. Then there were people that understood children, but they didn't understand writing. And they said that people put inappropriate activities. They had one person, this was how they wanted to be creative with little kids and do something hands-on. So they wrote, "For kindergartners, we're going to pretend it's the judgment. All you people on this side of the room are lost. All you people on this side of the room are saved." Whew. So when they asked me to do this, at first I was not going to do it because I couldn't think of how to do it. And I did not want it on my conscience that I scared a child. I just don't want to scare a child. Thinking conceptually, so let's look at the first angel's message in two parts. He said in a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory because the hour of his judgment has come." What is the whole concept of the judgment? Look at your card. Angel 1, what does it say? God is always fair. You see how that saved me? I don't have to tell a kindergartner there's going to be a judgment. Some people might be lost. Some people might be saved. That's not appropriate to tell a kindergartner that. But a kindergartner can know God is always fair, trust that he will do what's right. Then, as that child gets older and they have this nice, solid basis that God is fair, when they learn the details of the judgment, they will feel good about it. So that saved me. Now, the second half of the first angel's message, worship him who made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and the springs of water. Look on your card. God made everything. Love, obey, and worship him. God created the world. Keep the seventh day holy to respect him. So that second half wasn't bad. And whenever I wrote all the grade levels, pre-K, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus a whole evangelistic, student-led evangelistic series, I would have to say, what are they capable of understanding? But these are the big concepts. Now, it was always the most fun when I was at 1B, worship him who made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the springs of water. I loved it. Whatever grade level I'm on, yay, now I can tell them about sharks swimming in the water and all, flowers. And I always was very happy on that. Now, when I came to the second angel's message, I started sweating it. Another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she's made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Who here wants to teach that to a kindergartner? I don't even want to say the word kindergartner and fornication in the same sentence. I don't want to have to explain things.
I want to say sixth graders.
Correct.
It's just a disaster.
Yes. And so I have really researched the best versions. Like when I do give a few more details, there's only one version that says drinking the intense, impure wine or intense drink or impure drink or something. And there's a version that uses that. And that's the one I always switch to when I get to that because of that very reason. But what is the concept here? What is happening in the second angel's message? What's happening with the second angel? Yeah, the people are making a bad choice here, right? Yeah. I think it's Elizabeth Talbot that sums it up. She even sums it up better than I do. More succinct. She says, Angel 1, God has already won. Angel 2, the other side's going down. Angel 3, pick a side. Done. I love that. Yeah, that's it. So yeah. So write that down if you want on your notes. You can write that. Let's see. Yeah, I will. She's wondering which page to write that down. I don't think I gave you, because I didn't put this slide in. You can just put it anywhere on the lines there, wherever you have some space.
Say what she could.
Yes, and you could write it on the back of the paper if you want. Angel 1, Jesus has already won. Angel 2, the other side is going down. Angel 3, pick a side. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And if you look at the three angels' messages, you know how everything starts in Revelation 14:6? Well, if you back up, you have some, in fact, I'll open this up now on my text. If you don't get stuck in the 144,000, let's say you just substitute the word for the 144,000, you just say the followers of God. Before you get to Revelation 14:6, those whole verses that start out Revelation 14 is the whole thing that says Jesus already won. So before they even start, if somebody has a Bible or wants to pull up on their cell phone, I'll just show you what is meant by that. Yeah, you have it on there? Thank you. Yeah, so if you... Yeah, okay. So I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. So let's just say, and with him God's people, having his father's name written in the forehead. Wait, this has... Oh, you have... I see what you mean by ignore the notes. I was like, what's happening here? And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but God's people, which were redeemed from the earth. And then just skipping down a little bit, these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb, and into their mouth was found no guile, etc. It's not so much about the people, because then you get down to 6. I mean, this is confusing me because of all the notes. But no, that's okay. That's okay. But anyway, this whole picture is that they are worshiping the Lamb because he already won.
Right. Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get to there. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. So the 3 angels' messages. Angel 1, Jesus has already won. Angel 2, the other side's going down. Angel 3, pick a side. So when I did, and I heard that after I did this, I was so proud of myself because I thought I had gotten it very succinct. And then I was like, wow, somebody got it even more succinct than me. But if you look at Babylon is fallen, read from your card, how do we translate that for children? Angel 2, 1. Read it with me. Always keep the commandments. 2, do not follow those who want you to do something wrong. 3, obey God even when it's hard. Isn't that nice?
You had to back way up into the concept.
Correct. Way back. If I didn't understand conceptual thinking, I would have been sunk. There was no way I can teach the 3 angels' messages to kindergartners if I don't understand conceptual thinking. So just think about that in any context. If you're speaking to new believers, if you're talking in your neighborhood, what can you do conceptually that will make sense to that person without getting lost in the weeds? We fight over the weeds.
Just a quick comment. This concept of how to say this and break down isn't just for children, for people who are very secular. But I've been surrounded by those people most of my life, getting over something you call to that made any sense.
Right.
Just gibberish.
Yes.
It's hard because breaking it down like this, I think, is a true way.
Yes, that's right.
As children,
Right.
so many people spiritually are children.
Yes. Yes.
It would seem that if you want to stay on concept, you first sometimes need to ask the person to give you more explanation of what they're saying.
Yeah. So you understand where they're coming from.
It becomes clearer.
Yes. Yeah. For example, what do you think, and if I go for a walk all the time with my neighbors, which do you think I could connect more with them? To debate particulars in health, to debate whether, I don't know, I don't want to put any particular person on the spot, so I'm trying to debate whether artichokes are healthy or not, or just to talk about health. You see where I'm going with that? The concept, my neighbors can agree with me. Believe me, they're all big time into health. So I can relate to them by talking about health. That's a concept. Artichoke is a detail. And too often we get stuck on the details when we can make a lot more progress if we can be conceptual. And I will eventually show you how that's going to really work well for teaching. And it's going to tie in to yesterday and what we talked about in those questions and those big ideas. Because remember, if you're talking about Joseph, you can start by talking about what does it feel like to be in this family where there's bitterness. People can relate to the concept of bitterness. And once you do your work around the concept, Then you move into your content. So now you're starting to get it. We have 2 of our C's, concept and content. And we'll talk a little more about that. All right, the third angel's message. A third angel followed, saying in a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast in his image and receives his mark on his forehead and on his hand, he himself shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Right. You want me to tell a kindergartner that there's going to be a mark?
Yeah.
You have to be right. And I've also done 2 13-part series on 3ABN with kids that are ages like 10, 9 to 11, 9 to 12, 2 13-part series. My sponsors pay me to teach children about the 3 angels' messages. I've been doing it for 5 years now. And every single thing I do has to tie into 3 angels' messages. Every single thing. So I have to think of a new way to package it, a new way to say it. But I have 2 13-part series on 3AVN with kids about this, and they can tell you. So what about the mark in the forehead and the hand? Am I going to tell a child about that? Read it with me. Angel 3, use your mind to listen for God's voice. Use your hands to do what God wants you to do. Be patient, have faith, trust Jesus. There you go. There you go. Yeah. You're mine. Yeah. So that's what saved me, is thinking conceptual with that.
What you're saying, so a lot of times getting concept across a lot more important than details.
Yes.
That's the purpose behind what we're doing.
Yes. And then as we look at teaching, if you get your concept first, if you are teaching details, you're not just teaching a list of facts, but people can relate to it. So if I say, I'm not just going to teach a bunch of dates when I teach World War II. I'm going to teach about prejudice. I'm going to come up with a concept so that when people come out of this class, they are going to realize what happens when people groups are marginalized. And then remember, it's generalizable. So then they can say, wow, this was a terrible thing. Jews were marginalized during World War II, as were Adventists, as were homosexuals. All of these people groups were marginalized. So now that kids in my high school class understand that everything we teach, this is what prejudice does, then they, as kids, can say, wow, this is relevant to us because we're feeling marginalized. And then, spoiler alert, you can create your connect. I actually had a high school teacher that did something like this, and that was a long time ago. And I will never forget it. I'm 72 years old. This is when I was, 15 or something? And I'll never forget it. So you can do the math, how long ago. That was in a public high school, and I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Polsby, and he wanted us to understand prejudice. So, and this really was a rough way to plan his connect. You plan an activity that explains the concept, then you go into your content. So what he did for his connect of the concept of prejudice is he took, there were 3 kids in our class that had red hair, and he started making disparaging comments about people with red hair. And, oh, look at these redheads. And whenever one would do something wrong, he said, see what I mean about redheads? And, one girl was out by the lockers with her boyfriend getting a little too amorous. And he comes, see how redheads are, they're out there. And those 3 redheaded people started all sitting together in class and started bonding together. And finally, he told us what he was doing and how we were all buying into it. So that was his connect of the concept of prejudice. And then, boom, he went into his content. Let me tell you about what happened in World War II. I feel sorry for the 3 redheads. I don't know if they ever got over it, if the rest of us couldn't forget it.
Did you say this is the reason, for instance, a lot of times a pastor will start off a sermon with the story?
Yeah, it can be very gripping. The thing is, the tighter you make your connection to the concept and the more the concept embraces the content, the better it is. Some of the stories are more marginally connected. But when you get a nice, tight connection, people will not forget it. And by the way, on Friday, we're going to talk about telling stories and how you can make those stories so interesting to listen to. All right. Let's talk about a few more things here. So the content is your details. Give me some content. Give me some content on any topic, something you like. I don't care what it is.
The explorers of the New World.
I was hoping you'd say ice cream. Okay, the explorers of the New World. Give me some details. No, we just had some. I was thinking, oh, see, and that would have been a good way to do this. So you could bring some tomorrow if you want. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, so anyway, the explorers of the New World. Give me some details about the explorers of the New World. Okay.
LaSalle.
Okay.
Then, well, now I'm talking about 1500s.
Oh, he's getting real specific now. Okay. All right.
Explorers of the New World who came over here, started with Columbus.
Okay.
And move on from there. All those various names and dates that would go along with.
Yes. Now give me a concept that would tie into that. What lens might you teach it? Okay. Curiosity. Curiosity is a beautiful concept. And I think kids are maybe losing some of that today. But curiosity is hugely important. Yep. Correct. Because kids are mad if they're bored. They're mad if they're bored because they feel like they're entitled to someone entertaining them. And that's why they're losing curiosity. Yeah. So then if you want to teach the content of the early explorers through the lens of the concept of curiosity, now you can set something up as your connect that would help them understand what it means to be curious.
Well, couldn't you, curiosity, couldn't you also apply like bravery?
Yes, you can pick your concept. It's not, passion. All those are great. All those
would be what they.
Yes. And so you pick your concept. There's more than one. And so you think, what's an important value that I want to teach to these people? I don't just want them to come away knowing the year that Christopher Columbus did or did not. Right? But I want my kids to be brave. So what am I going to do? Maybe the kids come in, I'm going to blindfold them and ask them to walk to the wall. And some kids are going to be scared. I can't do it. And then at the end, how did it feel? Well, it was scary. I didn't know what was going to happen. Well, guess what we're going to be learning about today? Explorers. Boy, they had to be brave. They couldn't see either. They didn't know where they were going. So when you understand, you take your content, figure out your concept by which you want to teach the content, and then plan your connect. It can be very powerful. All right, so let's try to do it with some things. Let's say, I'll give you your first example. Let's say I was going to teach Nebuchadnezzar's dream and I wanted to do it through the lens of power. Then I could plan something about why do you think some people are afraid to lose power? I could set up something, if I wanted to, in the classroom that certain people felt like they had power. And then we could begin talking about power and why it's hard to lose power and why some people find it so important. And then, boom, I go into Nebuchadnezzar's dream because they're already understanding a little bit about power. Yeah. So yesterday we talked about the early church in Acts, and I'm going to put you in groups, and this time now you're all comfortable, so I'm going to split you up. And I want you to think of any concept. It won't be the same one. And then think of a connect. So last time I numbered wrong and had to renumber, so I'm going to do it right this time. Let me get how many people are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, I forgot if I counted him. All right, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We lost 7 people today. That's tough on anybody's self-concept. I had 24 yesterday, 17. Now tomorrow I'll have 10. By the end of the week, I'll be down to 3. There's that. Okay, how many did I just say? 17 people. And if I want 3 in a group, then you got to count out by 5. In a couple of groups, I'll have 4 people. Okay. All right. 1. Remember your 1. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. If you're the extra. Okay, so 1s, come here. 2s are with you.
Okay.
3s, right? You were 3? You were 4? Okay, so 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. You're going to think of a concept that you want to use to teach about the early church in Acts, and think of a connect.
What?
No, I just vacation.
Where are the 3, 4s? The 3s.
Oh, she's collecting the 3s. Any 3s are going to come here. 3. What number are you? 3 is right here. It's with her. Yeah.
Be a trust.
Right. She say you're related to the teacher? Yeah, I'm related.
These 2 are 3s?
All right. You older than the teacher? Younger? I am teacher. How much? By the little hurry. I'll be 71 here in 2 days.
Okay, well, maybe you have 3 3s. That's because the number is 3. So. Oh, maybe you were 3. Okay. Yeah, I think you may have been 4, but somebody switched up. Okay. No one in this group knows what they're doing. Okay. So the story of the early church in Acts, when everybody was just getting that church going, I want you to think of any concept you might want to use in order to teach that. And then how can you illustrate that concept through some kind of an activity before you get into the content? Now, yesterday, you were here yesterday? No. Oh, none of you except him, but he doesn't count. Because yesterday we talked about the early church in Acts, so that's why it makes it a little easier for those who are here. Yeah. But what was happening in the early church in Acts?
I thought multiplication. Just, I'm feeling a petri dish with something in it, and it's just explode.
That's a beautiful concept. Yeah. Well, so you got your concept already. So now you can think of a way, some kind of an activity.
Well,
yeah. But that's an even broader concept, multiplication, which church growth comes under. But I like multiplication because now you even came up almost with your connect, because you could give everybody a petri dish and have something as well. Okay, she just did the whole thing for you. You can come up with some other ideas since she came up with that in 2 seconds.
Well, they were also preaching it under a drum. And they would preach you.
First time. How are you today? Yeah. Beacons. Okay, good. That's an interesting thing. Now, is this a Native American thing or? Oh my goodness.
I make these.
Really? That's beautiful.
This is a market eagle.
Oh, okay.
It's an
Okay.
ounce of silver.
Oh, and then how do you get the cord to go into it? Oh, you made those too. Oh, look at that. So this is a coin?
Yes.
So you find the coins somewhere or something? Where do you get the coins? You find these or?
How many you want? I'll show you some. I got a couple thousand.
Oh my.
Well, no, $1 though. But anyway, it's the most popular coin in the world.
Oh,
Collectible coin.
really? Huh. That's really nice. Very nice. I like that.
And it doubled in price last year, so.
That's a good thing that you got a lot of them.
Instruction can be sorted 5 for this. These that you call isn't
Power of the Holy Spirit presence is a constant.
You will prepare.
Which is the book. Yeah, tell it. Better. Please, they heard in their own tongue that would have been whole bitter free.
CK.
The disciples were not just making these irrational sounds. There were
Order. Yeah.
And that's what we continue to do. We continue to care.
Yes, remember. Because the strong churches today don't quite as. No, it's just baffling. It's up their spirit. God.
Or what you might say, they have a concept of the Spirit speaking through them, but nobody's connecting. So,
Right, we have to have an inter.
I get you that guy under when I bake for with me. Who's a different verse and praying they just vacation.
Are we, this block starts out with content, but are we still supposed to start with concept?
Okay, that's an excellent question. It took me a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
So if you're going to teach a lesson, you look at your content first so you're aware of what you're going to teach. So when you're planning, you list out every detail of your content. But when you teach it, you start with the concept.
Okay.
And a lot of times you don't even tell them yet what the content is going to be because you want them to experience the concept. But you do have to be very cognizant of what your content is in order to create your concept.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. See, breaking that out and got this looking like a business.
Yeah.
So your connect is what you're going to make your classmates, your class do in order for them to experience the concept. So you're going to put your kids in prison. Well, but it's sort of like what happened to you. And you have to be careful because sometimes people go a little too far with this and it's inappropriate for the grade level. Like you had a class when you were young that they were trying to demonstrate health. So they made little kids go to a slaughterhouse. He hasn't gotten over it.
Several days.
For what they had.
They don't have fun too, but
Not right.
slaughterhouse.
Yeah. Oh, that.
I watched that cow come in and I watched it go out in pieces.
Yeah, they did that to a child to try to.
I just didn't eat for several days.
They tried to turn him into vegetarians, but Adventist church school. Yeah. So
They needed to take your glass of water.
right, they understand that they had a concept of health, and they were trying to give them a connect, but it wasn't an appropriate connect. So you have to be careful of that. Like if you're trying to illustrate freedom versus not having freedom, you're not going to lock a bunch of kids in jail. So you can
And like with the topic of youth,
yeah,
be very careful. Yes, because it can bring up all sorts of
right.
shits of experience.
Yes. And I've even had an experience as a superintendent that there was a teacher, a brand new teacher, a wonderful teacher, and after maybe week 5 or 6, she stopped reporting to the classroom, and we didn't know what was going on. And I had to drive from my house in the Orlando area down to Miami. I drove to this young woman's house, and I found out she had been abused and had buried that and forgotten about it. And she was teaching the age that she was, and it all started coming back to her, and she panicked and stopped reporting. And we had to get another teacher for that classroom. Yeah, it was a sad.
Well, at least maybe at that point,
Yes.
She can't help it.
Right. It brought it all out. Correct. Which she had to do. Yeah. When you work with people, you find out all kinds of things that people deal with.
I think, what I was saying is a joke. It's, yeah.
You guys okay back here?
No. Oh, where the event I was departmentalizing. And no, but that's organization. Organization.
Organization is a good one.
But you gotta have organization, have power. You see?
Yeah, but you can teach something through a different concept. Power is one concept. Organization is another. If they didn't have organization, it would have splintered all over the place. Right. But that's not the only concept you can teach it through. Maybe he wants to teach it through the concept of organization. That's okay. That's okay. If you want to teach it through the concept of power, that's okay. You could. That's another option.
Each person does.
That's another one you could do. They all work.
Yes. And he's not
Yeah, that's another one. Gifts, talents, gifts, giftedness. You guys are a little contentious here. Take a breath. They can all work. Oh, I see what's happening. You need the knitting to calm down. Yeah. Okay. Well, I will get everybody back together. Okay. I think we better get back together. So I think you all have had some good dialogue. And then we'll talk about what you came up with. Then I need to help you with my handout because there are some things that I think aren't clear that need to be filled in. And then I want to show you an interesting connect that I put into one of the lessons, one of our high school lessons. I want to show you one of our connects that I particularly like. Okay, so how about your group? Who's the spokesperson here? Okay. So the early church in Acts, what concept did you choose?
We don't want to tell you the concept first.
Oh, okay. They're going to make us experience it and see if we get the concept. All right, come right up, step right up.
I want to do this because I am sure that it will take just that long.
Okay.
And you'll know what the concept is.
Okay.
This is a cookie jar, and every one of you is going to get cookie.
Yay.
Okay? You get one, and you get one, and you get two.
Hey.
And you get... you... And you get one.
Oh.
That is fair.
There you go. There you go. Okay, and what is your content?
Now, the content was chapter 6 of that.
Okay.
And feeding the widows.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go. Okay, next group. You don't all have to put on a little demonstration, but you can if you want. All right. What group are you? The 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s? Ones?
We were one.
Okay, how about the 2s? Who's in the 2s? Just make an attempt.
You talked about structure, version, that's what's
We can't hear.
Structure. I think their concept was structure. Okay. And yeah. And did you guys come up with some way of demonstrating that through some kind of a connect? There's a lot you could do with that. You could have them make something with Legos or something, a tower with marshmallows and pasta or something, and if it falls over, it lacks structure.
So take on it was multiplication. Oh yes, because of how the church grew and spread and flourished. And multiplication is easy. There's all kind. My background brought me to a petri dish, and you put a bunny in there, and you watched it.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yes, that this thing was exploding. It was growing fast. Good. All right, the threes. Who was the threes?
You wrote
Okay.
Well, so in our group, Haskell also mentioned, having one child had a lot of popsicles and were they willing to share them. And we also talked about, the idea of fire, a neighbor having a fire. And one comedian that Haskell also brought said, how much would you have to hate me not to tell me about G? And you're not even a Christian. So the concept of sharing and not being selective, but if somebody has me like the fire next door, you're not them just remain silent because I'm too afraid, shy. You go get here and your share what you know. So that was our environment.
Yeah, good. And I think the other group back there had about 3 different, they probably had as many ideas as there were people in the group. I think.
We actually got to connect.
Okay, go ahead, Alyssa.
I didn't like it. You said I was not allowed. No. Hey. Okay, so it would be, delegation, having like your class or in a church group say, well, we're just going to have this party on this day at this time. And so what are your talents? One person's planning games, one person's planning your venue, one person is planning decorations, one person's planning the punch or not the spike punch, but whatever. Coladas. And whatever you can get different people to delegate, and then through that, different people assume their talents.
Yeah. And I think yours was a little bit like that, organization. And then what was your concept that you were power, like the power of the Holy Ghost? Yeah. I mean, sometimes maybe God will whip up a thunderstorm for you at just the right moment, and you can talk about power. Yeah. So any of these things, if you think about what is the concept that I want to teach and get that across first, it can be helpful. Let me just have a few more minutes, so I'm going to help you fill in some of these blanks, and then I'll show you what Connect I did in the high school unit. I think on the bottom of 4, I'm not sure that maybe we were clear on what happens on the bottom of 4 on slide 12, but the content is the details. The concept is the big idea. The Connect demonstrates the concept and bridges back to the content. So after you demonstrate the big idea, the big concept, then you can nail your details, because then they're understanding. And as you're teaching those details, you want to keep coming back to your concept, especially so you're trying to teach organization or something. You see how helpful it is when something's organized? All right. So I think that you got that there. And slide 15, that was your activity. I had another one on the top of 6, Jeremiah building the wall, but we don't have too much time for that. But I want to show you when yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of spiritual matters, I can immediately think of a lot of details that are shared with people with no concept.
Correct. Once you realize that, I mean, we always kind of half laugh about it, but way back in the day, there was a small church that when people would come in, there was a dear saint at the guest book. If ever they saw somebody that didn't look familiar, they'd start right in on Do you know how they kill those animals? I mean, they just chop their heads off. People are eating the blood. They don't even know. People are like, what just happened? Because they're trying to make somebody into an instant vegetarian by getting into some details. Sometimes we just get a little crazy and get so lost in the details that we just don't even get it. So we have to be careful about that. We have to be careful. You're right. So I want to show you a slides that I do for a Connect when I teach the 11th grade, I think or the 10th grade unit in our curriculum that I wrote. And I wanted to teach creation, and I wanted to teach the fact of synchronous versus asynchronous, right? Things had to happen at the same time or in the same order, because if anything didn't happen in the correct order, we wouldn't have the world. In other words, you can't make a tree and not have water to water it or something like that. So I wanted to show them how pieces all have to work together. So I think, let's see, is this? Yeah, this is it. All right, let's see if we can do this. So we put this here because we don't have but I wanted to find an illustration. I don't know how many people know what a Rube Goldberg machine is. Yeah, so I wanted to find a good illustration of that. So let's see where to put that microphone. I can get that going. I just didn't know. You can just do that part. Oh, we can't hear it though.
I can't see that.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to stop this because I want you to hear it. All right, let's go back. But I don't know if any sound at all is coming out of this.
Hold it.
Stop it. I thought we had it a minute ago, didn't we? Let's just
See, is it?
Yeah, see, that sound is all the way up. It can be seen without the sound, but it's really kind of nice I don't know how we did it before.
I was curious that it's not coming out.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you don't hear it, I guess I have to go. Then you hear a little clicking sound.
Here, wait a minute.
If I take this out, one of these is, I'm just wondering if there's a way to get to the speaker there.
Oh, you want to escape from that? This? The sound is all the way up, but for some reason that's... Yeah, I could, the only other thing I could do... Oh, that's a good thought, too.
Oh, well, that might be the need here.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to check the soundboard, yeah, I'll get this. All right, check that. And let's just see if we can do it.
Because he put it in, he actually ran a cable to that. Yeah. Did you plug? Okay, so
You could plug this into your computer.
Oh.
Over here.
Huh. Wait, I don't think I have an audio output in there. Oh, unless it's that.
Right over here.
I bet you do. Yeah, all right.
All right, let's try this. Oh, good. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Here's the volume.
Why don't you stop it, and that way you can put it back here.
All right, here we go. Thank you.
Thought that was feedback.
No.
Isn't it nice when things just work?
Pretty interesting to watch, right? So if that's high school, I had to think about the high school brain. If you just get up and say, today we're going to talk about the three angels' messages, you just lost somebody, you know? But with that, then in the lesson plans, I have them talk about synchronous versus asynchronous. We talk about what those words mean. And then I ask them which one of these steps was the most important. Which one of these steps was the most important? Exactly, because what would happen if any one of these steps didn't work? The whole process gets aborted. Now, I do have some kids who will argue, well, the first one, because then it couldn't have happened, but any of those. So then we start talking about creation and the complexity of it. Okay, so that gives you an idea about big ideas. I hope you enjoyed it and have something you could take with you. Okay, thanks a lot. Let's see what we're going to do tomorrow is cooperative learning.
You can close it in prayer.
Okay, yes, that's right. All right, let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, thank you so much for each person here. Thank you for everything you've given to us and the opportunities we have to influence others. I pray that you'll continue to work with us so that we can represent you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. You're welcome.
About yesterday. Yeah. I didn't understand where my car goes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you all about it. Just give me 1 second. Don't go anywhere because I want to ask you a favor. Can I make like a little video, validation video, like for my Instagram and stuff? Okay. Yeah.
So understand how there's another teacher who had part-time of his English conversation. I was born a teacher and just didn't know us. The readers, is that something you use in science for class? Do I have to be the reader if I'm the teacher? If I can just have somebody to read these little talking.
Correct. Oh, the read and say something. Depends on the grade level.